Hello and welcome to this Employability Skills Program video. My name is Vladimir. I am the coordinator here at Bright Red Triangle. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to be a fly on the wall. So today's video is going to be how you can go about observing your customers' behaviors, noticing any patterns, and finding out what your customers actually do. This is a good exercise not only when you want to start a business and to find out what your potential customers are doing, but in general when you conduct any type of research for any coursework or any future situation that you might find yourself in. It's a good thing to keep in mind, and hopefully we'll have some fun. So I want to start this video by telling you a story. Around the 1980s, there was a factory in Hawthorne where the employers decided to see whether the change of lighting will affect their employees' productivity. So they set out to do an experiment. They went down on the production floor, and every employee knew that they were going to be a part of this experiment. And they wanted to see whether a change in lighting would make people work faster or slower. So they first started by increasing the lighting, and they started jotting down whether people work faster or slower. Then they tried decreasing the lighting down to candlelight. Once the day was over, the researchers were quite surprised to see that in both cases the productivity had increased. Over the course of a week, they actually noticed that whatever they did, whatever changed to the immediate environment they put on, the productivity increased. Less breaks, productivity increases. More breaks, productivity increases. So this came to be known as the Hawthorne effect. People will act differently if they know that they're being observed. The employees, knowing that their employers were going to see the results, constantly worked harder. Now, why is this important? As I mentioned, this presentation is called being a fly on the wall. And it's important to know that with observation as a research method, there are different types. Here we're talking about the so-called covert observation, so it's secret. You shouldn't get caught. You shouldn't interfere in the person that you're observing's natural surroundings. For example, say you want to innovate a widely available product like contactless payments. What you would do once observing is, say, go into a shop or a movie theater and watch how people pay with their cards. Now, being a fly on the wall means you mostly keep your mouth shut and your ears and your eyes wide open. And believe it or not, you start seeing some patterns in behavior. And with people not knowing that they're being observed, being in their natural surroundings, they will act honestly. Why is this important? Because, as I said, people are in their natural setting. But very importantly, what I say is not always what I do. There was a research that looked at how people treated the clothes that they wore, but they weren't exactly dirty, but they weren't exactly clean. You know, people in the study said, oh yes, I fold them up and put them away. But the reality was that they were put on the chair. So the chair was this place that kept clothes that weren't quite ready to be washed, but you could probably get one more outing out of them. But obviously, no one would like to admit that they just pile their clothes on a chair next to their bed, would they? That's why it's so important to observe from a safe distance, notice body language, notice how people interact with the product or service that you're looking to improve, and make notes. Identify pain points, see where people are struggling, see what you can do better. Some tricks for this exercise. Most importantly, try not to get caught. Bring a notepad. Take as many notes as you can. Also, if you believe that you might know what you might find, try sketching that out earlier on. Keep that in front of you, and that way you will be able to better analyze people's behaviors and try and ping out different differentiation points. Go to different places. You know, if we're talking about a contactless payment, go to a supermarket, go to the cinema, go to a bar, go to a restaurant, go to a department store, go to a clothes store. see people in different surroundings. Also, it's different when someone in their 20s pays with a contactless and someone in their late 50s does it, or so we think. So it's important to see how those people act, and also keep an eye out for patterns. Try and identify different behaviors. See if there's something similar. See if there's something that everyone struggles with. And from there, you'll get many ideas of how you can make this better. So, being a fly on the wall in the end of the day is not that difficult. Just recap, identify who you want to observe, who's your target audience here, what are you setting out to do, set some goals. Throughout the day or week, take as many notes as possible. Once you start reflecting on them, you might notice something that during that time that you were observing, you thought it wasn't such a big deal. Take as many notes as possible, share them with your group, share them with people that you know will give you honest feedback. Another important thing is, don't use this method as a standalone proof of your concept. Combine it with potential interviews, with desk research. Use it as a holistic part of your research exercise. So I hope that this was useful, and thank you very much for joining me today.